Welcome back, everybody. We continue our weekly technical analysis of the three major indexes. I say we, but one of us is taking a vacation this weekend, but he'll be back next week. Let's take a look at the Dow. We see there's not a whole lot of technical information going on here. We do have a support line, but we don't really have a ceiling and we don't have a clear pattern. The only possible clear pattern would be a bounce off support. The Dow doesn't appear to be moving in that direction at the moment. Just continuing to stick around this upper area here. It hasn't made any definite moves to the upside or the downside, but that can't go on forever. It's going to have to make a move of some sort. So we'll be watching that. Right now, I don't have any specific indication of that, except that volume looks like it's a little on the low side. So that indicates this price action is weak. I would expect that we're going to have somewhat of a pullback. It's hard to say for sure because with all the stimulus money that keeps coming in, the market continues to defy expectations and normal price movement. Still, the chart doesn't usually get it wrong. And right now the chart is basically showing that this price action up here is weak. And most likely we're going to have a movement towards support. Let's take a look at Nasdaq and see if it will offer any clearer indications of what the market is doing. The Nasdaq is continuing to operate within the channel, although again, it is also not making a definite move towards support or resistance. It's just kind of staying in the middle here. Interestingly, as it's moving a little bit downward, we're getting more of a volume increase. So this movement, however sideways it is a strong movement. The price action is strong based on the volume. The volume's increasing. It's too early to say whether this price action is definitively moving towards support or if it's going to just continue sideways. Too early to say. But this week, I'm sure we're going to get an answer one way or the other on that. The S&P 500 has been giving some mixed signals in the sense that we have two possible support lines. We have this lower support line, which hasn't had any visitation from price action in quite some time, really since late part of October. And then a new support line seems to develop here. Is this really the new support line, or is this lower one the real support line that it just hasn't been visited in a while? It's just kind of hovering around this area up here with no definite major move upward or towards support. I do expect it to correct somewhat. We're not talking about much of a correction. For it to go back to support, that'd be a 3% drop. That's very typical within a few days or even a week of price action on any of these major indexes. 3% movement is not a lot. If it were to move through this support and continue down and hit this lower support, which hasn't been visited in several months, that would be an 11% drop. And that's a little more newsworthy and a bigger deal to most investors because that signals an actual correction. Doesn't necessarily signal that we are in bear market territory, but it would definitely signal a correction. I don't know if we're going to get there. There's so much stimulus money coming in. It just seems to continue to propel the market higher. Something is going to have to change that trajectory at some point. What it will be, your guess is as good as my guess. It just seems, though, that the market can't continue to stay frothy up here with not that great a volume. One of these support lines is going to have to be hit sooner or later. But I have a strong feeling that this week is going to reveal more answers. So stick with us and check back next week.